Okay, he whispered, his mouth a bitter line. And when the doctor told him not to tell him anything about himself, the white man said, okay. And he turned his face towards the wall, his mouth a bitter line. A bitter line means he felt hurt. Outside the door, Hannah was waiting for Sadao. He saw at once that she was in trouble. Sadao, Yumi tells me the servants feel they cannot stay if we hide this man here anymore, she said. She tells me that they are saying that you and I were so long in America that we have forgotten to think of our own country first. They think we like Americans. Now, when Sadao saw his wife Hannah, he could see that she was in trouble. And Hannah said that Yumi, the babysitter, was telling her that the servants feel that they cannot stay there anymore because they were hiding this white man, so they would leave. And she said that because you both have lived in America for so long, you have started liking the Americans and you don't think of Japan as your own country. It is not true, Sadao said harshly. Americans are our enemies. It's not true, Sadao said sternly. And he also said that Americans are our enemies. But I have been trained not to let a man die if I can help it. But he was a doctor, and doctors take an oath in which they say that they will not let any man die if they can help it. So he was only trying to fulfill his duty as a doctor. The servants cannot understand that, she said anxiously. She eagerly said that the servants don't understand this. No, he agreed. Neither seemed able to say more. And somehow the household dragged on. The servants grew more watchful. They became more careful, they were watchful. Their courtesy was as careful as ever. Their mannerisms were very careful and hostile, but their eyes were cold upon the pair to whom they were hired. Now they were very looking upon their masters very coldly. They had become quite hostile because they did not like what the masters were doing. They were hiding a white man. It is clear what our master ought to do, the old gardener said one morning. He had worked with flowers all his life and had been a specialist too in moss. Moss is a small flowerless green plant that lacks true roots. It grows low like carpet, and this gardener was a specialist in it. For Sadao's father, he had made one of the finest moss gardens in Japan. He had made very beautiful garden of moss, sweeping the bright green carpet constantly so that not a leaf or a pine needle marred the velvet of its surface. So the moss looked like velvet, and he used to keep the garden so clean. It was like a green carpet. He used to clean it, keep it so clean that no leaf would be on it, or even a pine needle would not be there. It would be so clean and so neat. My old master's son knows very well what he ought to do. He says that my old master's, this gardener was a very old person. He had worked even for Sadao's father. So he says that my master's son knows very well what he had to do. He now said, pinching a bud from a bush as he spoke, when the man was so near death, why did he not let him bleed? So he reasoned that when the man was nearly dying, why did he save him? Why didn't he let him bleed? That young master is so proud of his skill to save life that he saves any life. The cook said very scornfully that the master is very proud of his skills and he would save anybody's life so that he could boast that he can save anyone. Even his enemy he saved. She split a fowl's neck skillfully and held the fluttering bird and let its blood flow into the roots of a wisteria vine. Now she very skillfully split a fowl's neck, a bird's neck, and held the fluttering bird, letting its blood flow into the roots of a vine, wisteria vine. Blood is the best of fertilizers, and the old gardener would not let her waste a drop of it. The gardener had told her that whenever she had to kill a bird, a fowl, so she should do it in the garden and let the blood go into the different roots of different vines, roots of Vistara vine, because it was a very good fertilizer. It is the children of whom we must think, Yumi said sadly. What will be their fate if the father is condemned as a traitor? If the father is convicted as a traitor, what would be the destiny of the children? They did not, this was Yumi's worry. They did not try to hide what they said from the ears of Hana as she stood arranging the day's flowers in the veranda nearby. So they spoke loud enough for Hana to hear. And they did this on purpose. They did not try to hide what they were speaking. And she knew they spoke on purpose that she might hear. That they were right, she knew too in most of her being. She could understand their thinking also, and she did not consider them wrong. But there was another part of her which she herself could not understand. But there was some other part in her which she could not understand. Though they hated the American, but still they were helping him recover. This was something they themselves could not understand. Even Hana could not understand, and so Sada also could not very well place it. He was doing it just because he thought that it was a doctor's duty to save. It was not sentimental liking of the prisoner. They did not like the prisoner. They were not being sentimental. She had come to think of him as a prisoner. She had not liked him even yesterday when he had said in his impulsive way, "Anyway, let me tell you that my name is Tom." Impulsively, without any previous thought, on impulse, he had told her that, "Let me tell you my name at least." She had only bowed her little distant bow. She had only bowed, acknowledged in a very formal, far-away manner. She saw hurt in his eyes, but she did not wish to assuage it. She saw hurt in his eyes, but she did not want to soothe it. She did not want to lessen that hurt. Indeed, he was a great trouble in this house. Indeed, he was a great trouble in this house. He was not welcome here. He was a problem for them.